Our fearless leader has finally made it over to the El Paso border so he can sign his name to the big, beautiful Trump border wall. No? Okay, well, he's there because he's going to fix this immigration problem. How's everybody doing today? My name is Ty with Ride IQ. Thank you for joining me today. And, I just wanted to give Joe Biden some credit here. He decided that he wanted to go down and spend some time on the border. So, you know what? After 50 years of him, talking about the border, he probably figures probably about time before he dies to go check that place out. Well, the good news is they cleaned up the entire area for him. You can't have all this riffraff hanging around, all these illegal aliens hanging around. It doesn't make for a good picture. So they decided to go ahead and get rid of all the riffraff, and everything looked very good when he showed up there, and decided to take a nice little stroll after lunch, to go take a stroll down the border, where the border's at. He decided to go ahead and just take a stroll down there, and he really couldn't figure out what everybody was complaining about. I mean, everything looked great. Trump's border wall was working great. People weren't jumping over that fence, so that's a plus, right? With that being said, he went down there because he wanted to fix this immigration problem once and for all. And by golly, if it wasn't for those Republicans, he would have it done already.
On my first day in office, some of you may recall, covered this area, and they cover it well. I sent Congress a comprehensive piece of legislation that would completely overhaul what has been a broken immigration system for a long time. Cracking down on illegal immigration, strengthening legal immigration, and protecting dreamers, those who with temporary protective status, and farm workers, who all are part of the fabric of our nation. But congressional Republicans have refused to consider my comprehensive plan. And they rejected my recent request for an additional $3.5 billion to secure the border and funds for 2,000 new asylum personnel, another asylum officers and personnel, and 100 new immigration judges, so people don't have to wait years to get their claims adjudicated, which they have a right to make a claim legally.
So you mean to tell me that you offered $3.5 billion to secure that border and the Republicans said no? My gosh, what is wrong with these people? Why don't they want to secure this border for you, Joe Biden? What is the problem? What is going on with these Republicans that they don't want to put another $3.5 billion into your coffers so that you can secure this border? I don't know. Maybe because the border is not secure, and it never was. It hasn't been secure since you became president of the United States. It's only gotten worse. But here Joe Biden is, he wants to make sure that it's easier for people to get across the border. He doesn't want to close the border down. He doesn't want to stem the flow of traffic coming over that border. What he wants to do is make sure that it's easier for people. Streamline the process, because he's a forward thinker that always wants to make sure that things are running smoothly, correct? Listen to this.
Now, there are a number of ways to immigrate to America legally under our existing laws. For example, an American citizen can sponsor an immediate family member from another country. An American company can sponsor an employee from another country. There are visas for students to study in our colleges and other special categories. And regardless of the legal pathway they process them to require everyone be involved in following the law. That's the notion. There are laws to get here legally. That includes another legal way for someone to come to America by seeking asylum because they're fleeing persecution, like a lot of our ancestors did as well. And for many people, that's what's happening at our southwest border now.
Asylum is what all of these folks crossing the border are looking for. Asylum from what, Joe? Asylum from what? Being poor? It is not the United States' responsibility to make sure that the world is not poor, to make sure that the world has opportunities. Are they fleeing gangs? Gang violence? The last I checked, we have quite a bit of gangs over here also. So where do we go for asylum? And not to mention, a lot of these folks that come over here are from gangs. So you're bringing more gangs over here. But Donald Trump had a mechanism in place to make sure that these migrants, asylum seekers, to make sure that these asylum seekers weren't just running across the border. One of which was a safe third country, which has been on the books for a very long time. Safe third country, which means that they don't have to jump 3 or 4 countries to get to the United States border. They can go into the next safe country. But they're not doing that. And that's not what you want, is it? But another option that Donald Trump had in place was Title 42. Let's hear what Joe has to say about Title 42.
In fact, the previous administration used a rule called Title 42 to deal with the pandemic, to rapidly expel people who crossed the border. It was designed to deal with the pandemic, but it's used as a means to expel people at the border. People turned away under Title 42, and they're not they're not barred from trying to come back. They've been turned away. They go back. They try again. They try again. Well, you know, they can and they do try to re-enter the United States again and again, which makes the problem at the border even worse.
Joe, I'm pretty sure you're misrepresenting Title 42 just a hair, maybe minimizing the impact and what it was for. Yeah, see, it was put there because of the virus, right? To stem the flow of the virus coming into the United States when there were hordes of migrants trying to come into the United States. Now, it's very easy to get rid of Title 42. What you have to do is you have to remove your declaration of an emergency. And in order for you to do that, you would have to be willing to remove the powers that come along with that declaration of emergency because of the virus. That's not what you're going to do, though, is it? Because you enjoy those powers. But there's a lot more to all of this border nonsense than what you're talking about. It's so much easier to come in. You're talking about how people are getting turned away and they keep coming back and keep coming back. Tell me, how many people have you actually turned away? And if they even if they do get turned away, they'll find another way in all the gaps in the border that you left from Donald Trump's construction of the border wall. But let's find out exactly how easy it is for them to get across the border.
All the migrants that I speak to now, they know that as long as they get on American soil, they'll be processed and released inside the United States. It actually gets to the point now, Steve, where I'm actually at the border, and when migrants are crossing illegally inside the United States, they're actually on Facebook Live or they're FaceTiming a family member. I mean, they couldn't care less. They cross over the border, they wait for Border Patrol. They know that the process only takes a few days now, and then they're released to the United States, or they get either bused or flown into the city of their choice.
You see, Joe, I don't understand why Title 42 is a problem for you. You would actually have to be following it in order for it to cause a problem for your agenda. See, most of the people, or a lot of them, a good portion of them, are not even coming in through the ports of entry, which makes it illegal. So it's illegal for anybody to cross the border if it's not through a port of entry. But what they're doing is they're crossing that border and they're on their phone and they're on Facebook Live. They're just sitting over there casually waiting for Border Patrol to come and pick them up and send them wherever they want to go within the United States. You just heard it right there from George from Fox News. But we've all seen it. I can take my glasses off and still see it, Joe. So there's got to be more to this plan of yours to secure this border. What is your plan to secure this border?
First, if they're seeking asylum, they can use an app on their cell phone called CBP One, O-N-E, CBP One, O-N-E. That's to spell it out, not the number one. To schedule an appointment at a port of entry and make their asylum claim there without crossing the border unlawfully and have a decision determined by an asylum officer, do they qualify?
So an app. An app is going to secure the border. Why didn't I think of this before? An application, they are so powerful. Why didn't I think about an application to secure the border? Are you kidding me, Joe? Are you kidding? You're not trying to secure the border. This has nothing to do with securing the border. And so you wonder why Republicans don't want to give you any more money. Because it's all a bunch of BS and you know it. It's all a bunch of BS. This application talking about they won't be coming in illegally anymore. Yeah, because you're going to approve them. You're going to streamline the process before they even get here. So all they have to do now is just walk in. They're already approved. Are you kidding me? The United States has enough problems as it is right now without you making it worse. You're trying to kill the country. What is wrong with you, Joe? Whose side are you on? These states that you're shipping all these immigrants to, they're losing their minds. They're losing their minds and they're losing their bankroll. The taxpayers' money is running out. And so what are you going to do about it, Joe? It can't get any worse than this, can it? Is this the best you can do? Is this the best that you can do? We need Donald Trump back.
You saw hundreds of homeless migrants on the streets, freezing in the cold. They weren't getting any help from the city. They were literally being donated blankets and sweaters from the locals there in El Paso. I even interviewed women and children that were freezing out there. On the Mexican side, there were about 3,000 migrants waiting to get in. Many of them actually, they told me they've been extorted by cartels and Mexican police. It's been a complete disaster. And right now, the only reason we're not seeing crossings in El Paso is because the mayor actually declared an emergency, which the Biden administration didn't want the mayor to do, even though the mayor had to, because I mean all the resources were used up. You have National Guard there in the presence, but President Biden isn't going to see the reality. He, according to the reports today, he visited a busy port of entry. Well, the illegal crossings are not happening at port of entries. They're happening in between that. So you have El Paso declaring an emergency. I just left Denver, which they had nearly 3,000 migrants dropped off since December. They're actually on the brink of an emergency. It's been a complete disaster, but the president didn't get to see the reality today.
No, George, he didn't get to see the reality today. He's not interested in reality. Reality is probably the farthest thing from his mind. And from what I understand, he only spent about 3 hours over there, just enough to take a few photos, maybe look for the closest ice cream shop. But this wasn't a serious endeavor. He hasn't been over there in his entire career with the federal government. He hasn't been over there his entire career. So obviously, this has something to do with the Republicans taking the House. So he's trying to leverage his position more than likely. But the reporters asked him the same thing. Why is it that you waited until now to go down there?
Mr. President, why did you decide that now is finally the right time to visit the southern border? Republicans have been calling on you to do this since the beginning.
Because Republicans haven't been serious about this at all. Come on. They haven't been serious about this at all. I wanted to make sure that I knew what the outcome, at least the near outcome, was on Title 42 before I went down. We don't have that yet, so I had to operate. I don't like Title 42, but it's the law now. I have to operate within it. My prediction is, it's nothing particularly insightful about this, Title 42 is going to go away before the end of the year in terms of the Supreme Court, my prediction. And then we're going to have to use Title 8. 8, right? Am I right? Yeah, Title 8. 8, 9, and which we can implement what we're doing here, plus some other things. But so I wanted to make sure there was a rational way in which we could begin to announce it. But I couldn't wait once the Supreme Court ruled that they're not going to make the final decision on Title 42 for some time, for another, who knows, probably not till June, in that range, although I don't know that for a fact, to be able to lay this out.
Wah, wah, wah. You see, that was political speak. You just got a lesson in political speak right there. The problem is that nobody understands what the hell he just said. And what do the Republicans have to do with you going down to the border to visit the border that you screwed up? What is it that you have to wait for Republicans for? Why do you need the Republicans? That makes no sense to me. And 42, what does Title 42 have to do with you going down to the border? None of this makes any sense. This was a photo op, plain and simple. The people who are not serious about the border are the people who are in your administration. The only thing you're serious about is getting as many migrants in here as possible. At our expense, of course. So I don't understand what you're talking about. But the saga continues. And it's going to continue until you are removed from office. And that may, cross my fingers, that may happen very soon. That may happen very quickly. And I am counting down the days until you get removed. Because then we can get some sanity back into the United States. Well, that is all I have for you folks today. Thank you for watching. I hope that you appreciated the video. If you did, like and subscribe. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think about the situation. Is Joe Biden serious about securing the border? Or is he serious about getting in as many migrants as he can over the border before he gets impeached? Let me know. Thank you. You guys take it easy. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching this video. Ride IQ is a new channel, so please like, subscribe, and share this video with all of your friends because we have to support each other if we're going to win this battle. And if you agree or disagree, please leave your comments below so that we can have that discussion together. And I'll see you on the next video.